In 2015, John Pombe Magufuli was elected president of Tanzania for a period of 5-year term, renewable ones. As he took office, most analysts wrote him off as just another one of those weak, corrupt African leaders who have forever cursed the political scene of Africa. But this time, in this part of Africa, this man is a little bit too special. Hello viewer, this edition of African Stories reveals why Tanzania will mourn Magufuli forever. Magufuli's entry to the highest office in Tanzania turned out to be a new beginning for Tanzania in particular and Africa at large. Everything he did was a lesson to other leaders on the continent. He fought and defeated corruption where other African leaders had failed dramatically. He planned and implemented government policies meticulously like no other leader on the continent. He built huge infrastructures within a short period that left his counterparts baffled. He elevated Tanzania to a middle-income economy in only 4 years, something never seen anywhere on the continent. In geopolitical maneuvers, President Magufuli outwitted rival Kenya to the region's economic supremacy by assembling huge long-term regional infrastructures that suddenly turned Tanzania into the new economic and political focal point of the region. For instance, shortly before he came to power, Kenya had sought to reinforce her position as the region's international gateway by embarking on the construction of a standard gauge railway that would connect Mombasa port to several hinterlands, namely Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and the Central African Republic. But just before the construction of the multi-states project could reach the next neighbor, Magufuli came into the scene and threw spanners in the works. Immediately, Uganda, in whose land the project's crossroad to other countries would sit, started paying more attention to Magufuli's new idea. In the idea, the new president of Tanzania proposed to the region's leaders a more reliable SGR route from Dar es Salaam port to the rest of the East African countries. Without wasting time, Uganda fell for the Tanzanian route and turned its back on Kenya. Even though Kenya has for long been the main export and import route for Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Eastern Congo, and South Sudan, the route has on several occasions proven vulnerable to political instability. For example, in 2007, Kenyan rioters, accusing President Museveni of Uganda of interfering in their country's election, dismantled rails in Nairobi and Kisumu to sabotage railway connection to Uganda. In the end, Rwanda, Burundi, and the eastern Congolese provinces of North and South Kivu also abandoned the long Kenyan SGR route and embraced the more direct Tanzanian SGR. By the time death struck Magufuli in 2021, his SGR project was nearing the borders of Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, while the Kenyan version seemed to head nowhere outside of Kenya. Additionally, Magufuli was a winner-take-all character. Before his succession to power, Uganda and Kenya had nearly concluded an oil pipeline deal to be constructed from Ugandan oil wells in Hoima up to the Kenyan port of Lamu. Again, as soon as Magufuli came, the Uganda-Kenya deal was abandoned in favor of a Uganda-Tanzanian version. In fact, before his death, Magufuli and Museveni had in September 2020 signed a pact to construct the oil pipeline known as the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, EACOP, covering a distance of 1,445 kilometers from Hoima in Uganda to the Tanzanian port of Tanga. Back home in Tanzania, Magufuli is a bulldozer, a larger-than-life personality. He was so ambitious, motivated, and resolute that when he picked his weapon to fight corruption in Tanzania, he became the first and the only African leader to ever fight and reduce corruption to the lowest level anywhere, anytime in Africa. In doing so, he cancelled wasteful foreign travels, weeded out corrupt leaders, cancelled symbolic Independence Day celebration, and channeled all the billions of shillings budgeted for the event to widen the Ubungo Highway in Dar es Salaam. And by the time mighty Magufuli marked his first anniversary in power, he had saved over $430 million that would have gone to the dogs had he not taken action. In infrastructure development, Magufuli was a heaven sent.
Pamoja na zile zinazoletwa na serikali kila mwaka bilioni 28, nazo mzipange kwenye budget vizuri, zilete impact.
In just 6 years, he achieved huge success more than any leader has ever done on the continent of Africa. He planned and executed as planned. He spoke and delivered as promised. From paved roads to highways, to superhighways, to high-speed rails, to ports, to airports, to electricity distribution, to water supply, to agriculture modernization, to, you list it, Magufuli injected his full energy in them. In the end, the total stretch and magnitude of the infrastructure undertakings that he built in 5 years doubled all that Tanzania had built throughout the 60 years of independence. Magufuli became so popular that his name has evolved into an English word. Oftentimes, the word Magufulify is used as a verb to mean clean up a mess in a system, or Magufulification as a noun to mean a special action that turns a mess into a success. So, in many parts of Africa, you will hear Magufuli sentences like, "Our president must Magufulify this rotten institution. I will do a Magufuli if elected." Magufuli was truly a people's man. In both his worlds, as a living and a dead president, Tanzanians loved him immensely. Measuring people's love for Magufuli required no special instruments. When the darling of the African continent died suddenly on the 17th March 2021, there was a huge explosion of grief everywhere in Africa and across the globe. And for his country, Tanzania, the news struck like a tsunami. Everything came to a standstill. Millions wailed. Hundreds of thousands lost control of their minds in total disbelief. For weeks and months on end, the entire population was sunk in deep sorrow like never before. Even though the rumor and news of his illness had lingered around for weeks, the news of the death of the African icon still struck like a bomb blast. All forms of media, print, electronic, traditional and social, were awash with Magufuli's stories, right from the time of his illness to death and beyond. A Facebook post from a one Honorable Segirinya Muhammad summed it all about Magufuli's life and death when he commented, "A good heart has stopped beating. A good soul has ascended to heaven. Our heartfelt condolences go out to Chama cha Mapinduzi and all citizens of Tanzania. We will surely miss the presence of a true Pan-African leader." Subscribe, like, and share.